If you're watering your garden from the top, you're paying a hidden tax you never agreed to. Evaporation, runoff, weeds, and the constant, did I water enough, stress. Now imagine this instead. You bury one unglazed clay pot near your plants, fill it with water, cover the opening, and then you basically stop thinking about watering for days at a time. In some gardens, that one pot becomes the difference between surviving summer and actually growing food through it. It sounds like a gimmick until you understand the part that makes it almost unfair. The pot doesn't leak. The soil drinks. And it only drinks when it's actually dry. That's the entire secret behind Olla irrigation. A buried clay reservoir that releases water slowly, underground, right where roots live, and it self-regulates because dry soil pulls harder than wet soil. So today I'm going to give you a ready-to-use system you can set up in under an hour with a 5-20 pot, and it scales from one tomato plant all the way to an entire raised bed. And by the end, you'll know exactly where most people mess this up, why their pot drains too fast or does nothing at all, and how to make it so reliable you can leave for a weekend in July without coming home to crispy leaves. Here's the first thing to understand. An olla is not a watering hack. It's a different strategy. Most watering methods try to push water into soil. Olla irrigation pulls water into roots. That sounds like the same thing, but it changes everything. When you water from the top, the surface gets wet first. The surface is where sun and wind steal your water. The surface is where weeds germinate. The surface is where fungus can thrive if you keep splashing. When you water from below, the surface can stay relatively dry while the root zone stays consistently moist. Your plants stop yo-yoing between drought stress and flood stress. And when plants stop stressing, they stop doing stress behavior, like cracking fruit, getting bitter, bolting early, or dropping flowers. That consistency is the real value. Not just saving water, but saving momentum. Now let's make this incredibly concrete. Olla irrigation is simply an unglazed, porous clay pot buried in the soil with the opening above the surface so you can refill it. You fill it with water. The water moves through the tiny pores of the clay wall into the surrounding soil, but it does it slowly, and it does it based on demand. Dry soil pulls water. Wet soil doesn't. Roots grow toward the moisture gradient and basically park themselves around the pot like they found a water buffet. And that's why this works so well in hot, windy, low humidity weather where hoses and sprinklers feel like you're watering the air. Now let's talk about the promise in your title. Waters your garden for 6 months. I'm going to be honest and still make this powerful. One pot can support a planting area for an entire season, yes, but it's not one fill that lasts 6 months. It's one install that lasts 6 months. Because the pot becomes your long-term underground reservoir system that you refill on a schedule, not a daily panic. In peak summer, you might refill every 1 to 3 days depending on pot size, heat, wind, and how thirsty your plants are. In milder weather, it might be every 4 to 7 days. But the win is that you've replaced constant shallow watering with deep, consistent moisture at the roots. Now, before we get into the step-by-step, I want to drop the first retention-saving truth. If you try to use ollas like a sprinkler replacement for seeds, you'll hate them. Because ollas don't wet a whole bed evenly across the surface. They create a moist zone around the pot, and that zone has limits. So think of ollas as perfect for transplants and established plants. Tomatoes, peppers, squash, melons, eggplants, herbs, even young perennials. Anything with roots that will actively search. Not ideal as the only irrigation for a carpet of tiny seedlings spread evenly across a wide area. You can still start seeds in an olla garden, but you'll surface water until germination and early establishment, and then let the olla take over once roots get moving. Now let's build your first one. You have 2 options, real olla or DIY olla. The real olla is a purpose-made irrigation pot with a lid. Great if you want something sturdy and beautiful. The DIY olla is shockingly effective and costs almost nothing if you already have basic terracotta pots. DIY method A, 1 pot. You take an unglazed terracotta pot, and you seal the drainage hole at the bottom so water can't just dump out. Waterproof caulk works. A small tile or rock plus waterproof sealant works. Let it cure. DIY method B, 2 pots married together. You seal the hole in 1 pot, then glue the rims of 2 pots together so you get a sealed bulb with 1 opening. Now you have more capacity. Either method works. The most important requirement is unglazed clay. If it's glazed, it won't seep properly. Now placement. This is where most "it didn't work" stories come from. You don't want to bury your olla randomly and hope. You want to design your bed like a low-tech underground grid. Here's the simplest placement rule that doesn't require you to become an engineer. Bury the olla so only 1 to 2 inches of the top is above the soil surface. Why? Because if you leave too much exposed, you lose water to evaporation and heat. If you bury it too deep, soil falls in, you can't refill easily, and you'll step on it. That 1 to 2 inches above the soil line is the sweet spot. Then pack soil firmly around the pot as you backfill. Do not leave air gaps. Air gaps are like insulating foam. Water won't move efficiently through an air pocket, and roots won't bridge that gap easily. You want soil-to-pot contact all the way around. Now spacing. A practical starting guideline is to place ollas about 2 to 3 feet apart, and then adjust based on pot size. Bigger pots can support a wider zone and can be spaced farther apart. Smaller pots need to be closer. If you only have one pot and you're testing, don't overthink it. Put it between 2 thirsty plants that are about 18 to 24 inches apart, like 2 pepper plants, or between a tomato and a basil. Now the lid. Cover the opening. Always. This is not optional. A lid prevents evaporation, keeps soil from falling in, discourages mosquitoes from turning your pot into a nursery, and stops surprise visitors, like curious insects, debris, or anything else, from moving in. Your lid can be the pot's real lid, a flat rock, a saucer, a plate, anything that covers. Now let's talk about the fill schedule, because this is where your system becomes set it and forget it instead of another chore. When you first install an olla, your surrounding soil is usually dry, so the pot will empty faster at the beginning. That doesn't mean you did it wrong. It means you're charging the soil. Here's the best way to start. Day 1. Fill the olla completely. Then water the plant normally from the top as well. Yes, both. Because in the beginning, roots aren't attached to the olla system yet, and you want to prevent transplant shock. Day 2 to 7. Keep the olla full. Check daily. Top off. Week 2. Start reducing surface watering. Week 3. Your plant should begin acting like it lives on the olla. Growth steadier, less midday droop, fewer dramatic swings. And here's a weird but useful sign. The plants closest to the olla will start outperforming the ones farther away. That's how you'll learn your radius. Now let's make this even more powerful. How to tune it for your soil. If your soil is sandy, water moves fast downward, and ollas can empty faster. That doesn't make ollas bad in sand. It makes them especially valuable, because sand loses water quickly at the surface. But you may need bigger ollas or more frequent refills, and adding organic matter and mulch will help a lot. If your soil is heavy clay, water moves sideways more slowly, so the moist zone may not spread as wide. Again, not bad, just different. Clay holds water well, so once charged, it can be very stable, but the lateral spread might be smaller. That means you may use more pots, placed closer. Now here's an advanced move that sounds small, but can completely change performance. If you're installing an olla in very deep, very draining soil, you can place a saucer or tray under it. That encourages water to move outward instead of straight down. Think of it as a water reflector. Now the crops. Let's be precise so you get results and not disappointment. Ollas are amazing for tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, squash, melons, cucumbers, okra, chiles, herbs, and many flowering plants. Anything that appreciates deep, consistent moisture and has a root system that can seek. Ollas can be tricky for very shallow-rooted greens if you're expecting the surface to stay moist. Densely seeded beds where you want uniform moisture everywhere. Woody plants long-term if roots might eventually crack the pot. Not impossible. Just know what you're building. This system shines when you're trying to keep a few high-value plants thriving with minimal water waste. Now, I promised the mistakes. Here are the 3 mistakes that quietly ruin olla irrigation and make people claim it doesn't work. Mistake 1. Using glazed pots. Glaze blocks porosity. If your pot looks shiny, it's basically a buried bucket. Mistake 2. Forgetting to seal the drainage hole. If water pours out the bottom, your olla isn't irrigating, it's dumping. That creates a vertical wet column and not a stable root zone reservoir. Mistake 3. Leaving the top uncovered. You lose water to evaporation, heat the water inside, invite mosquitoes, and constantly contaminate the pot with soil. It turns an elegant system into an annoying one. Now troubleshooting, because this is where you become dangerous, in a good way. Problem: my olla empties in a few hours. Most likely causes: a crack in the pot, an unsealed hole, very sandy soil, or a brand new dry bed charging for the first time. Fix: inspect the pot, reseal, and give it a week. Add mulch. If it continues draining insanely fast even after soil is charged, assume a crack. Problem: nothing seems to happen. The pot stays full. Most likely causes: surrounding soil is already wet, clay is holding moisture tightly, or you placed it too far from active roots. Fix: give it time and place it closer to plants. Also check that the pot is truly unglazed and porous. Problem: plants still look thirsty. Most likely causes: plants aren't established yet. It's extreme heat, pot is too small, spacing is too wide, or you're expecting the olla to support too many plants. Fix: add a second olla or use a larger one and surface water temporarily while roots grow toward it. Now let's talk about the real payoff: time. The first week feels like checking and learning. Then it flips. Because once your garden is trained to the system, your entire watering job becomes a refill routine. You're not dragging hoses. You're not watering weeds between plants. You're not splashing leaves. You're not guessing. You're literally topping up reservoirs. And that changes what gardening feels like. Now maintenance, because this is how you make it last season after season. If you live where freezes happen, don't leave ollas buried and full during winter. Water expands when it freezes, and clay can crack. At the end of the season, you can pull the pot, let it dry, brush off mineral buildup, and store it. Next year, reinstall. If you don't want to pull it, at least empty it before hard freezes and consider whether your pot can survive the freeze-thaw cycle in your soil. Now let's make this scalable. Because once you install one olla and you feel that difference, you'll want to cover a whole bed. So here's the simplest scaling strategy. Pick your priority plants. The ones you care about most. The ones that are expensive at the store. The ones that suffer first when watering gets inconsistent. Put ollas there first. Don't try to cover everything at once. A lot of people burn out because they try to install a perfect system in one weekend. Instead, do it like building infrastructure: one pot, then two, then a cluster, and build outward from results. Now here's a final mindset shift that makes this go from cool to life-changing. You're not just watering, you're building drought resistance. Because when roots are encouraged to grow deep and stay steady, plants become harder to knock over with heat spikes. They stop panicking. They stop dropping fruit. They stop acting like every hot day is an emergency. And the garden starts acting like it belongs where you live, not like it's constantly fighting your climate. If you want to start today, do this. Get one unglazed terracotta pot. Seal the drainage hole. Bury it near your thirstiest plant with 1 to 2 inches exposed. Pack soil tight. Fill it. Cover it. Then run a simple 7-day test. Each day, top it off at the same time and notice how fast it drains and how your plant behaves. By day 7, you'll know whether you need a bigger pot, a closer placement, or just patience. And if you want a soft challenge that will instantly make this feel real, pick one plant you've struggled to keep consistent. Tomatoes are perfect, and give it an olla for the next 2 weeks. If it doesn't outperform your normal watering, something in the setup is wrong, and you'll be able to diagnose it fast using what you learned today. If it does outperform your normal watering, you just found your new default. If you want, tell me 2 things in the comments: your climate, hot/dry, humid, or short season, and what you're growing. I'll tell you the best starting pot size and spacing for your setup so you don't waste time guessing. And if this idea clicked for you, if you like systems that reduce work instead of adding work, stay with me. Because the best garden upgrades are never the fancy ones. They're the ones that turn daily effort into quiet infrastructure. One buried clay pot is where that shift starts.